What's up guys, Jacob here, and welcome back to Lifey. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the top 10 things that we love about Salt Lake City, Utah. Number 1, proximity to mountains. At an elevation of 4,330 feet, Salt Lake is definitely a mountain town. To the west, you've got the Oquirrh Mountains, and to the north and to the east, you have the Wasatch Mountains. This makes for excellent biking, climbing, camping, skiing, swimming, you name it. It is an adventurer's paradise, and honestly, most major mountains are within a 30-minute drive of downtown Salt Lake. It is so close to the mountains, it is absurd. You might even get eaten by a mountain lion. No, I'm just kidding, you won't really get eaten by a mountain lion. Number 2, the airport. Now, Salt Lake Airport is awesome, because honestly, the airport itself, it's pretty great. It's the 23rd busiest airport in North America and the 85th busiest in the world. Additionally, the airport is completing a $3.6 billion renovation in order to make the airport bigger, have better parking, and just make improvements in general. But that's not the main reason we love the Salt Lake Airport. The number one reason we love it is how close it is to the city. The Salt Lake Airport is usually less than a 10-minute drive to downtown Salt Lake. And get this, you can get from the airport to your favorite ski resort in usually less than or around 30 minutes. Now, if that's not amazing, I don't know what is, but I do know that we love the Salt Lake Airport. Number 3, world-class skiing. You guys, the skiing in Salt Lake City is seriously the best on this earth. So there are 4 major ski resorts located near Salt Lake City. They are Brighton, Solitude, Alta, and Snowbird. And every single one of these 4 resorts is literally world-renowned. Each of the 4 gets on average 400 to 500 inches of snow per year. That is definitely near the top in the nation. Also, snow totals are great, but snow quality is even better. The snow in Salt Lake is known to be the best snow on earth, and I can confidently say that is true. I won't bore you with all the science, but essentially something called the orographic effect makes the snow really light, powdery, and fluffy. It's not wet, it's not hard, it is a skier's dream. As far as skiing goes, Utah and Salt Lake in general cannot be beat. Number 4, friendly people. Who doesn't love friendly people? In 2017, Travel and Leisure magazine ranked Salt Lake City as the 2nd friendliest city in the nation and the 4th most attractive. Now, I don't know if that means the city itself is attractive or if the people are, but I'm from Salt Lake. So knowing that, I think you can decide for yourself. In that vein, Travel and Leisure magazine had some very high praise for Salt Lake, saying the following: Brigham Young hailed Salt Lake City as a kingdom of heaven on earth when he founded it in 1847. Walk the streets of Utah's capital today, and it's hard to disagree with the Mormon leader. That's pretty high praise. Seriously though, people from Salt Lake are crazy friendly. Surprisingly to some, Salt Lake is actually ranked in the top 5 cities as far as LGBTQ friendliness in most major publications across the country. So that just goes to show that Salt Lake is very welcoming and very, very friendly. Number 5, everything is centered around the temple, literally. In Salt Lake City, the Salt Lake Temple is the center of town. Now, if you go 1 block west of the temple, you're on 100 West. 2 blocks west, you're on 200 West, and so on and so forth. It is extremely easy to get around because of this numerical grid system that goes in both north, south, east, and west. So essentially, if you ever get lost in Salt Lake, well, just learn to count. You'll be fine. Additionally, the streets in Salt Lake are super wide. This is good because when one of the founders of Salt Lake, Brigham Young, founded the city, he said he wanted the streets so wide that a horse-drawn carriage could complete an entire U-turn on the street. I know that whenever I'm trying to turn around my horse-drawn carriage, I am really grateful for the width of the streets. As soon as you're finished doing your U-turn in your horse-drawn carriage and you get to your work, you'll remember the 6th thing that you love about Salt Lake City. The job market here is incredible. All right, guys, here's the skinny. The unemployment rate in Salt Lake City is only 3%, which is significantly lower than the national average. And the job market is increasing by 2.1% on average per year. which is significantly higher than the national average. Seriously though, if you drive around Salt Lake, you'll see new developments popping up all over the place, and that is a sign of really robust economic growth. So after you've finished up a long day at your job that you love, that's paying you loads of money, well, where are you going to spend all your money? We might have an answer for you. Number 7, Salt Lake is a foodie haven. The median age in Salt Lake is only 30 years old. That being said, the food scene is progressive, it's hip, it is delicious. You've got all sorts of different options if you're headed to Salt Lake for a bite. For pizza, there's the Pie Pizzeria, which is frequently ranked the best pizza in the state. For Mexican, there's Red Iguana, which from open to close typically has lines out the door. And for fine dining, there's Walter's Osteria, which is the premier fine dining in the state. Oh, and then for burgers, there's of course Heyer's Big H, which, it's burgers, need we say more? If you're from out of the state, you might have a misconception that there's not a lot to do in Salt Lake. If you think that, you're definitely wrong. All right, guys, here's my completely biased opinion about all there is to do in Salt Lake. First of all, you've got the Utah freaking Jazz, an NBA team whose arena is in downtown Salt Lake, and they're one of the most fun, electrifying young teams to watch. After that, you've got the Salt Lake Bees. You're not a basketball fan, but you're a baseball fan? Perfect. For like $10, you can get a ticket to the game, sit on the outfield grass, eat a hot dog, and catch home runs. After that, you've got the Hogle Zoo. It is a literal zoo in Salt Lake. Guys, zoos are not that common. There are lions, there are tigers, there are polar bears, there are hippos, there are giraffes. It is really, really cool. If you're not into that, there's the Tracy Aviary, a giant botanical bird garden where you can see birds from all over the world do performances. Salt Lake is pretty dang cool. So in Salt Lake, there are a ton of things to do, but number 9 on our list is there are actually also a ton of beautiful sights to see. Now, here's the deal, guys. I know that Utah is a desert and Salt Lake typically falls under that category, but it is beautiful. First of all, something that people often forget is that the 2002 Winter Olympics were held in Salt Lake. So all of the cool fanfare surrounding the Olympics, including the torch, the arenas, the stadiums, all in Salt Lake City. The second thing is Temple Square. Salt Lake City is the headquarters of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, where Temple Square is located. This includes the beautiful Salt Lake Temple, the Mormon Tabernacle, and other gorgeous sites related to the church. Number 3, Red Butte Garden. Red Butte Garden is a 100-acre botanical garden located in the east of Salt Lake, where you can walk and see beautiful plants, animals, and all sorts of vegetation. Number 4, Ensign Peak. Ensign Peak is where the founder of Salt Lake City, Brigham Young, laid out plans for the city when they first developed it. From the peak, there is a monument dedicated to the early pioneers, as well as gorgeous sunsets. Number 5, the Bonneville Salt Flats. The Salt Flats are hundreds of acres of salty expanse that look like a desert where they do high-speed drag racing. And number 6 on our list is the Great Salt Lake. Now we know we kind of ragged on the Great Salt Lake in our cons video because it's really salty and you can't really swim in it. But honestly, it's pretty cool too. The sights there are beautiful, and because there's so much salinity, you can go in the lake and literally just float. Honestly, as far as sights to see, I think that Salt Lake is pretty unparalleled. And rounding out our list at number 10 is public transportation and traffic. Now, I know that we made a cons video saying that traffic in Salt Lake is kind of bad, because it kind of is. But here's the pro. Traffic in Salt Lake is not nearly as bad as traffic compared to other big cities. In fact, if you compare Salt Lake to cities like Los Angeles or New York, it's actually really, really agreeable. And then you add to that the fact that public transportation in Salt Lake is also growing quite a bit. UTA has released a front runner that goes as far south as Provo and as far north as Ogden. There's also a new light rail system called TRAX, which goes all around the city. And the increasing presence of buses, taxis, and Ubers really makes it a lot easier to get around. So though traffic might not be the best in Salt Lake, it could definitely be a lot worse. All right, guys, thanks for watching this week's video about the 10 greatest things about Salt Lake City. If you liked our video, please like, comment, or subscribe. And as always, if you didn't, well, just let us know why. Thanks for watching, guys, from Lifey. We'll see you next week.